Jamaica News and Sports, July 4, 2019. Man shot and injured in Ocho Rios Transportation Centre. Commuters were sent scampering for cover when a man employed by the St Ann Municipal Corporation was shot and injured at the Ocho Rios Transportation Centre on Wednesday afternoon. The transport center is barely 150 meters from the Ocho Rios Police Station. The injured man has been hospitalized in a stable condition. Preliminary reports are that sometime after 1 p.m., the municipal worker was collecting fees in the park when he was pounced upon and shot in the neck by an armed man. The hoodlum managed to take a small sum of money from his victim before fleeing the scene. The injured man was then assisted to the hospital. The Ocho Rios police are now investigating the daring incident and searching for the attacker. Car crashes in vendor's stall. Michelle Wright had a narrow brush with death on Tuesday, July 2. The 50-year-old vendor was sitting at her stall at the entrance of Dirt Lane, in Central Village, St. Catherine, when she was nearly run over by a car that got out of control. The car come right in. It come off of the road completely, and where I'm at selling, the vehicle reach underneath there, so, a shaken Wright said. The vehicle was traveling towards Spanish Town along the Central Village main road. The driver reportedly lost control of the Toyota Probox, which hit a parked vehicle before running off the road and crashed in Wright's stall. One of her legs ended up under the car, but Wright had no idea how it got there. All I can do is praise God, me still shock and everybody shock me alive, a traumatized Wright said. Me a my time now. Me ball out Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Me matter, she said. Me feel good fi be alive, but me still feel bad fi no she a desu me woulda dead. NDM co-founder Brasco Lee dies. Brasco Lee, the man who co-founded the National Democratic Movement, NDM, with Bobby Marsh in 1995, died on Tuesday, July 2 after a short illness. Lee, a former state minister in the Ministry of Agriculture and four-term member of Parliament for South Trelawney, was among a long list of high-profile Labourites who left the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, during the leadership of Edward Seaga. Lee was a member of the Western 11, one of several political factions to have risen in the JLP in opposition to Seaga's continued leadership. Lee, along with Bruce Golding, who was invited to be the NDM's first president, and Joan Gordon Webley, were among foundation members of the NDM, which contested its first general election in 1997. None of its candidates were successful in the election, and Golding and Gordon Webley would later return to the JLP following Seaga's retirement in 2005. In a statement yesterday, NDM President Peter Townsend said that Lee was one of three local politicians who strongly believed that the political system was too self-serving and operated almost exclusively in the interest of the JLP and PNP and their ruling class instead of the people of Jamaica. The NDM hailed Brasco as bold, brave, and a man of action, and pledged to continue his dream of a new, different, and better Jamaica. NDM chairman and friend Michael Williams said yesterday that Lee, who served as General Secretary of the NDM for several years, had always been a futuristic thinker. He was part of the small group that brought together the hardcore policies and thinking of the NDM, and he remained true to them. He thought that Jamaica would do well with a hybrid of political ideologies representing the best of the United States and United Kingdom, Williams said. While Golding and Gordon Webley returned to the JLP, Lee returned to his first love of agriculture, working with farmers in his South Trelawney region, where he remained close to yam farmers and their concerns. His ram goat soup and ram it up curry booster were business ventures he began in 2017. The former MP was said to have exceeded $400,000 worth of exports in 2016. Deadly gang developments in Denham Town, West Kingston. The police say the recent spate of gang violence taking place in sections of Denham Town in West Kingston and surrounding areas has been among elements from criminal networks in the area that have broken away from each other to form splinter gangs. The new development has not only triggered a new level of tension in the area, but has also made it even more difficult for the police to keep a lid on the bloodletting in the volatile criminal enclave. Monitoring the areas and trying to clamp down on gang activities, such as gang members attacking members of other gangs, has been a challenge, with the situation now reaching a stage where, more, gang members have switched allegiance and are now turning on each other, making it very challenging at times to place a lid on such activities, said a senior police officer from the Kingston Western Police Division. The police said the murders of 2 in the area men over the weekend were the latest deadly attacks that have left persons there on edge. The men were killed in separate incidents within a 24-hour period, both outside but near to the boundaries of the ongoing Zone of Special Operations, ZOSO, in the area. The deceased were identified as Jerome Harris, otherwise called Biggie, and Jermaine Freeman, otherwise called Chromas, aged 31. Reports are that about 10 a.m. on Saturday, Harris, a resident of Water Lane, went to purchase food at a shop on Regent Street, and was attacked by unknown assailants, who shot him in the head and other sections of the upper body. The attackers then escaped from the area on foot. The police were called and Harris's body was found in the area. Less than 24 hours after that incident, gunmen went to Tulip Lane, where they attacked and shot Freeman to death. The police suspect that the second attack was in reprisal to the one that took place on Saturday. In some communities there are areas that are considered borders, and areas where some persons would not venture, but what we are seeing now is that some of the attacks are taking place on gang members in areas which they would normally consider their stomping grounds, said the senior officer. Edna Manley principal frustrates PAAC as members seek insight into procedures after sexual harassment reports. Attorney-at-law and member of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, of Parliament Leslie Campbell yesterday referred to Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts principal Dr. Nicholeen DeGrasse Johnson as the judge and jury who determined whether complaints of staff misconduct reached the board of the government-funded Fine Arts School, which has been rocked by allegations of a sexual harassment cover-up. Despite their valiant attempts, the PAAC members were left without a clear picture of how reports of sexual harassment against staff at the institution got elevated to the level of the board. Campbell would ask the question 6 times in one question and a 7th time after DeGrasse Johnson failed to identify the step-by-step reporting procedure. In the end, he called her judge and jury in determining how cases advanced, especially after she failed to identify any individual to whom a report would be made. When you have a complaint, one student against another, or a student against a member of staff, that is referred to the board. Campbell asked. It depends on the issue that a student would bring against a student. The board gets a report at the end, but it depends on the issue, DeGrasse Johnson said. Campbell, I am just trying to work through this. Take, for instance, one of the complaints that you had in 2017. The student comes in and says, I am being harassed by Mr. X. And the institution takes a statement. How is that elevated to the board? Who is the representative that takes that complaint to the board? Campbell asked. A student did not complain to me in 2017. I just want to make that clear. However, when a complaint comes to me, usually, I don't have complaints coming to me directly. For example, why we end up doing what we are doing right now, which is the investigations into the hearing, is because a student came forward, was encouraged to put it in writing, and it was submitted to the board immediately, said DeGrasse Johnson. In this case, she said, the board responded swiftly and formalized a personnel committee to investigate the complaint. The board would then make a recommendation to the ministry, following which the teacher would be alerted. Campbell further pressed, you have to pardon my ignorance because this is what I am still trying to understand, but these documents I have in my hand suggested that you admitted that in 2017 a lecturer filed a complaint. And you did say there were several complaints. One was reduced into writing. It is you who made the determination that there was insufficient evidence to proceed with the matter, he said. Continuing, Campbell added, so you investigated the matter. You acted as the jury in that matter as to the truthfulness of the statement that was before you, and you made the determination as the judge that this was not worth it to escalate it to the board level. If that is not a correct interpretation of what you gave us, you can let me know because I intend to go further. No, sir, DeGrasse Johnson said. I was not judge and jury in 2017. I did not receive, at the time when I spoke with the lecturer, any written complaints. A frustrated Campbell said he would abandon the course he was walking. The principal added, a report is given to whomever and submitted to the board. Whomever remained unidentified. The representatives of the tertiary institution were again appearing before the committee, following reports of sexual harassment of young girls at the institution by a lecturer and allegations of cover-up by the institution despite several attempts, including police reports and written statements against the accuser. The matter came to public attention in a media expose in May. In sports today, Reggae Boyz lose 3-1 to USA in Gold Cup semi-final. Jamaica's Reggae Boyz failed to make their third consecutive CONCACAF Gold Cup final after they were beaten 3-1 by host nation, United States, in their semi-final at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee on Wednesday night. Weston McKennie first netted in the 9th minute before Christian Pulisic scored in the 52nd and 87th minute to put Gregg Berhalter's side into Sunday's final against arch-rivals Mexico. Sh0t scored for the boys in the 69th minute. The US started briskly and put the Reggae Boyz under pressure from the first minute. Christian Pulisic penetrated the defense but the ball was cleared after a melee in the box. In the 4th minute, goalkeeper Andre Blake denied Paul Arriola a certain goal from 6 yards out, then Reggie Cannon shot into the side netting after a poor defensive clearance. The US eventually went ahead when McKennie ran through on a cross and placed wide of Blake. They also came close to a second, minutes later, but Pulisic's free kick rattled the post. Jamaica nearly gave up a goal in the 15th minute when Blake collided with Alvis Powell and spilled the ball, but the keeper reacted quickly to deny Josie Altidore. The game was then held up for roughly 90 minutes because of a severe weather warning. This gave the Reggae Boyz time to regroup and find their footing. Jamaica came into themselves after the restart and created their first chance when Leon Bailey got behind the US defense, but he scoffed his shot. A little later Maddox fired wide from top of the box, and in the 22nd minute and Junior Flemings tested Zach Steffen in the US goal with a drive from 30 yards. Leon Bailey, who looked a lot brighter in this match than his last 2 outings, had a low shot deflected for a corner, and from the resulting set play, Michael Hector blasted wide. The US threatened again when McKennie beat Blake to a pass, but he could not find Arriola after the defense got back. But Jamaica ended the half on a high as Bailey, Vassell, and Maddox put the host nation on the back foot going into the break. Jamaica started the second as they ended it, on the front foot, but they were dealt a hard blow when Blake failed to handle Jordan Morris' shot and Pulisic swept home the loose ball from close range. Sh0t then put a chance wide from 12 yards out for the US. Maddox came close in the 65th but could not keep his shot on target. 4 minutes later, the boys cut the deficit when Bailey set up substitute Sh0t, who scored the winner against the US last month, to head home. Jamaica, led by Bailey, then put the US under a wave of pressure, but couldn't make use of the opening they created. The USA then got the insurance goal 3 minutes from time when Blake parried a shot into the path of Pulisic, who netted his second and the US third.